أشراف مطلوب وطالبه لله أكرام من يمشي على قدم. العلم نور مبين يستضيء به أهل السعادات والجهال في الظلم.
طيب. كتاب الجنايات, the book of felonies or crime. كتاب الجنايات. الجناية linguistically just means a sin or a crime. A sin or a crime. لكن according to the Sharia, it is التعدي على البدن بما يوجب قصاصا أو مالا. التعدي على البدن, to transgress against a person's body, بما يوجب قصاصا أو مالا. So there we can see the difference between a had, a capital punishment, a had, which we shall see next week, inshallah. And al-jinaya. In jinaya, it is when a person either kills another person, or breaks a person's hand, or harms another person physically. That is the meaning that jinaya takes here, and that is what we're going to be studying, inshallah. طيب. So that is the meaning. التعدي على البدن بما يوجب قصاصا أو مالا. To transgress upon someone's body, and that transgression, what necessitates or comes around because of it, or as a consequence, is that there's qisas, they are to be killed, or they are to be punished accordingly, or malan, or they are to be paying blood money for it. And the jinaya is of two types. Jinaya is of two types. The jinaya that a person does to another person, jinaya to adami, is of two types. The first is if they kill a person. قتل النفس, if they kill a person. And the second is if they harm a person, like, and they don't kill them, they do not kill them. For example, they break their hand, they inflict a wound on them, and so on. Like, and they don't die. So the type that we're going to study today, inshallah, is the first type, which is when a person is killed illegally. The Shaykh says, rahimahullah, القتل بغير حق ينقسم إلى ثلاثة أقسام. القتل بغير حق, unlawful killings, ينقسم, are divided into three types. From there, would you understand from there? القتل بغير حق, unlawful killings, are of three types. There's a lawful killing, and that lawful killing is not with us in this chapter. It is not what we're talking about here. Who can give me an example of a lawful killing? During jihad, for example. The capital punishment, the sayyaf, for example, the person that's actually carrying out the punishment, or the judge who is a reason for this person to be killed, while protecting yourself, self-defense. Someone does sihr and they're to be killed, the capital punishment there. So that is a lawful form of killing. Like, what we're talking about here is the illegal killing, or the unlawful killing of a person, of an innocent soul. So the Shaykh says, rahimahullah, نعم إلى ثلاثة أقسام. أحدها العمد العدوان. العمد والعدوان. So that is a premeditated, which is obviously intentional, killing with oppression. A person intentionally kills someone whilst oppressing them, or transgressing against them. So the first one, أحدها العمد والعدوان. Then the Shaykh says, rahimahullah, وهو, and it is, what is the amd al-udwan? It is أن يقصده, that he intends to kill this person, بجناية, he intends to kill this person, بجناية, with a transgression, تقتل غالبا, that kills in most circumstances. That kills in most circumstances. So there are two things that we need to take into consideration here. طيب. أن يقصده, he intends to kill him. So that is intentional. And the intention plays a major role in the rulings pertaining to the Sharia. إنما الأعمال بالنيات. As we said, ولكن ما عقدتم الأيمان. Just not long ago we talked about the iman that a person takes. طيب. أن يقصده, he intends to kill him. بجناية, with a transgression, with a form of transgression, whether it is running over or killing, تقتل غالبا, that normally kills. That normally kills. For example, a person shooting at someone. A person is walking and he shoots at this person. He can see that this person is walking there. That this person is walking in front of him. He pulls out a gun and he intentionally what? Shoots at him. There are two things that need to be taken into consideration. He has intentionally shot at him. That's number one. Secondly, what he is using is an object that normally kills. What the object that he's using is something that normally kills. Also, if someone's driving and they see a person that they want to harm, they speed up and they run them over. They speed up and they run them over. It is intentional and it is using an object that normally kills. Or you come across a person who's lying down or asleep and then you throw a massive stone on their head. Or you throw someone into the sea. Or into a canal. You throw them in intentionally and they die. That is intentional, and what you've thrown them into is something that normally kills. Or for example, you see a lion, there's a cage, and you throw a person into the cage where the lion is in. You've thrown the lion in there. You've thrown the person in there intentionally, and more often than not, the lion what? It's a predator, it kills. So that is qatl amd. That is qatl amd. The Shaykh says, فَهَذَا يُخَيَّرُ. So first and foremost, do you understand what qatl amd is? Because before going on to the ruling or different rulings connected to it, we need to understand exactly what it is. It consists of two things, two illas. Intentional, and the means that you're taking is something that kills normally. The means that you're taking is something that kills normally. If you understand that, then inshallah the next two types of killing should be easy to also understand. Questions after you? Yeah, your questions after inshallah. Oh, you didn't have questions. في هذه hand up. طيب so أن يقصده. So that's the meaning of قتل العمد. فهذا يخير الولي فيه بين القتل والدية. So the Shaykh says فهذا يعني that type of killing. If a person kills a person, another عمد عدوان. عمد intention العدوان by way of transgressing and using something that normally kills. فهذا if he is killed يعني if he dies يخير الولي. The person, the wali of that person that has been killed is given a choice between al-qatl, qisas, legal retribution, qisas, wadiyah, or blood money, he has one of two options. إما أن يفدى وإما أن يقتل. Either he is to be given blood money or he can accept blood money, or yuqtal, or either the person is killed. So there's qisas. So that is the meaning of, or that is the ruling connected to al-qisas, or intentional al-amd al-udwan. There's a third option, or there's a third possibility, which is al-afu, that a person can forgive. That is possible, that a person can forgive. So if a person's family member dies and he is the one that is the waliyud dam, as we shall see, then he's got three options. He can either ask for qisas, for that person to be killed, or he can ask for blood money, or, and we shall see the diya in a minute, the blood money, or he can forgive, He can choose any of those. So if a person decides to say, I forgive him, he forgives him on what? Initially, he goes on to qisas. He forgives him for the murder. Like he goes over to qisas. So he forgives him for the qisas. Then it goes over to what? The blood money. So if a person says, afawtu anka, the initial understanding that we have is that he has forgiven him for qisas, meaning there's no qisas, no, he's not to be killed. We move over to the level below it, which is what? Diya, a diya, which is blood money. And then if he says, I forgive him for the diya as well, then what? Then he totally forgives him. Like, and if he says, I forgive you in terms of like, I'm not going to ask for you to be killed, and I want diya. Khalas. He can't now turn around and say, you know what? No, I've changed my mind. I don't want diya anymore. I want you to be killed. He can't change his mind and say, I don't want blood money now. I want you to actually be killed. Why? Because he has forfeited his right for qisas. And then we take it to a level, the level below, which is a diya. Right. So that is the meaning of, or that is the three rulings connected to the person that is killed intentionally. His family members have an option of doing any of these three. They either kill or diya or afu. If the family choose to take the diya, they can't go back to blood money. They can't go back to qisas, the person being killed. Also, if the person that killed the murderer, if the murderer dies, they're forced to take the what? Blood money in this case. They can't say if the murderer dies, since he's died, we want to kill his brother. We want to kill his son. And that happens in some places, where an innocent person gets killed because his brother has killed someone else. And that is haram. That is haram. Right. So the diya is a certain amount of wealth that is given to the person whose family member has been killed. Right. So with regards to the diya, it is permissible for a person, or what is the asl for it? 100 camels. A diya al-kamil is 100 camels. And if a person doesn't have camels to give, or he doesn't want to be given camels, meaning if the killer's family, or if the killer doesn't have 100 camels, they don't have camels, or the one that it is being given to don't have camels and don't want camels, they can ask for the like of it in money, its value. So that is the asl. Also, what the person can request, the one whose family member has been killed, he can ask for more than that. He can ask for 1 million. He can ask for 500,000. He can do that because that is sulh. And remember, in sulh we agreed that the sulh is permissible as long as it doesn't contradict the Quran and the Sunnah. That's why Ibn Qudamah says, rahimahullah, من له قصاص له أن يصالح عنه بأكثر من الدية وبقدرها وأقل منها لا أعلم فيه خلافا. whoever has a qisas, whoever has a right for someone to be killed or to be given blood money, له أن يصالح عنه بأكثر من الدية. It is permissible for him to ask for anything that is above the actual diya, 100 camels, or the value of it. He's allowed to ask for more than that. And at the end he says, لا أعلم فيه خلاف, and I do not know any khilaf in it. So although there is khilaf, lakin, the stronger opinion is that the person can ask for whatever they want. طيب. The next masala is, what about the drunk person? If a person is drunk and they kill another person, what should be done? What do you think? A person kills another person when he's drunk, intentionally kills him, runs him over, or shoots at him. Blood money? Same as? These three, yani. So there's either the possibility of him being killed for it, or blood money, or forgiveness. Sah? These. Huh? We did. Say that again? Fasting what? No, you're right. We did, but not fasting. Huh? Talaq. I'll give you a clue. Talaq. Huh? And what did we say back then?
Two opinions. One of them is because he was the cause of himself being drunk, he's punished as a reward. And the other one, due to the expiration, it's not taken, but the expiration makes up.
Has everyone understood what Muhammad just said? So he said, back when we were studying Kitab al-Talaq, we said if a drunk person says to his wife, I divorce you, there were two opinions. The first to say that, yeah, he said he divorced her, it's his fault that he was drunk, he's not allowed to get drunk, khalas, we take into consideration his wife is divorced. The second opinion was no, his wife is not divorced because obviously he can't have an intention. Lakin, he has to expiate for that. Obviously he's punished for that, for being drunk, lakin, the sin of itself or the divorce doesn't take place. The same khilaf goes here. Because the drunk person, his wordings are not taken into consideration. The wordings that he says while he's drunk is not taken into consideration. And his af'al, the actions that he does, is the af'alul mukhti. They're the actions of the person who has made a mistake. So even though he's drunk, what is taken into consideration is accidental killing because he's drunk. Unless obviously a person gets drunk on purpose in order to kill a person. A person gets drunk on purpose to kill a person. Either because he's not brave enough to do it when he's sober, or because he knows that if they find that he was drunk when he killed this person, they're not going to kill him for it. In that case, he is to be killed. Al-jaza'u min jinsil amal. طيب. طيب. With regards to the diya of the male is 100 camels, and the diya of the female is what? Half of that. The diya of the female is half of that. The next mas'ala is also, who pays the diya? The one that killed the person. The murderer is the one that pays the diya. If he intentionally kills another person, the one that pays the diya is the person himself, the murderer. And you'll understand what I mean by murderer, or what the scholars mean by the person himself paying, when we study the next two. Right. So the person that pays the diya here is who? The murderer. The one that kills another person intentionally, he's the one that pays the diya here. Right. The next masala, who is the waliyud dam? Who is the person that has a right to ask for qisas, or to ask for blood money, or to forgive? Now, those who inherit him, meaning the closest people to him are the ones that inherit, and the ones that inherit are the ones that are given the option to kill. Allah Jalla wa Ala says, وَمَنْ قُتِلَ مَظْلُومًا فَقَدْ جَعَلْنَا لِوَلِيِّهِ سُلْطَانًا فَلَا يُسْرِفْ فِي الْقَتْلِ. whomsoever is killed by way of oppression, then Allah Jalla wa Ala has given authority to his wali, his next of kin, his the closest people to him. Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man qutila lahu qatilun," whomsoever his relative is killed, then he has a choice of two things, and that's the diya, taking the blood money, or qisas, asking for a person to be killed. طيب. What about if a person leaves behind 10 sons and 9 of them agree for this person to be killed, and one of them says that I forgive him? What happens here? Huh? The majority is taken into consideration. صح? Huh? Kill. Kill. Because of the 9.
Like killing them doesn't harm the 9 people, so it harm the 1 person.
By killing them, it doesn't harm.
Yeah, if you don't kill them, then it will harm that.
The 9. It will harm the 9.
That 1 brother.
If you don't kill them, it will harm the 9 people, you mean, and it won't harm the. Go on.
Yeah. Was it kill?
9 of them said we want him killed, and 1 said no, I forgive him.
I was thinking the other way.
So
don't want him killed. One of them does want him killed.
okay, so even if it's the opposite, you're saying what? Kill. So if one of them says I want him to be killed, and 9 say we forgive, he's to be killed. So the killing is taken into consideration. Any other opinions? They don't agree upon it all. Go what? Kill half of the guy. What? Recount. There has to be ijma' for them to kill him. Now, if one person forgives, then that person can't be killed. If one person forgives. And that happened during the time of Umar radiallahu anha, whereby a man killed another man, and it was the brothers, the brothers of the person that was killed said, we want him all killed. But their sister said what? That I forgive him. I forgive him. So then he was forgiven. But the only problem is that it was her husband that killed. It was their husband that killed. It was her husband that killed her brother. It was her husband that killed her brother. Okay? Huh? Conflicts of interest. It's true. That's why, I don't know, I mean, when I was going through the mas'ala previously and even now, that is the opinion of the majority of scholars, because that was the fatwa of Umar radiallahu anhu, that was the qada, the judgment that he gave. Right? However, if there is another opinion, inshallah I'll search more and you will search more. If there is another opinion of that person not being killed, or that person being killed, if there's a conflict of interest, then it would make sense to say in that case he is to be killed. Because I'm sure you can all acknowledge there's a difference between 10 people who are brothers, okay, 10 people that are brothers, and one of those brothers is killed by another person. So 9 of them say 8 of them say we want him killed. No, just forgive him. Khalas, lillah. We forgive him. Or I forgive him. To say, fair enough, we leave him and we let him live because this person has forgiven him. Obviously, we can't kill a person and leave a person at the same time. You can kind of understand. And there's no conflict of interest here. But this scenario, there is conflict of interest because that's her husband. So these 10, again, we don't know if it's an ijma' of the companions. Like, and if it is ijma' of the companions, then we can't obviously go against it. But there's a conflict of interest here because these 9 brothers, their brother's being killed. So by forgiving him, they're not benefiting anything. They want him killed. But for his wife, who happens to be the person who's been murdered, his sister, she benefits in some sort of way, although her brother has been killed, but her what? Husband is still alive. See where it's a bit problematic? Like if that is the fatwa of the Sahaba and there's no khilaf, then no one else can. If there's ijma' between them, then no one else can bring any sort of khilaf. طيب. So if one person forgives, then that person is to be forgiven and they move on to the next level, which is diya, the blood money. The next is, the Shaykh says rahimahullah, والثاني شبه العمد وهو أن يتعمد الجناية عليه بما لا يقتل غالبا. شبه العمد, which is kind of like a deliberate form of killing, unintentional deliberate form of killing, unintentional deliberate form of killing. How? وهو, he says, أن يتعمد الجناية, he intends to harm him. There's no doubt about that. Exactly like the previous one, he intends to harm him. Is that understood? So on this aspect, he's the same as the previous one. From this aspect, he's the same as the previous one. بما لا يقتل غالبا, لكن he uses something that doesn't normally kill. He uses something that doesn't normally kill. For example, now, a student is in the class and he's talking. A student is talking. مثلا Adam is talking now, and I throw this bottle at him. I throw the bottle at him. Hits him on the head. خلاص. He dies. Right? I intended to harm him, right? Because he was talking. But what I used, لا يقتل غالبا. It doesn't normally kill. It's a bottle. Or a pen. And I throw it at him. As soon as it hits him, خلاص, he's gone. There's two angles here. I intentionally harm him, but I harmed him with something that doesn't normally kill. So the action is intended, lakin the result of him dying is not something that I intended to do. So how can we tell that I didn't intend to kill him? Because of the means, because what I used. There's a difference between me or a person getting a gun and shooting someone and a person throwing a bottle at someone. There's a big difference. So that is called shibhul amdi. That is called shibhul amdi. It resembles the intentional killing, like it is different from it in terms of hukum, in terms of ruling. And the Prophet ﷺ gave that ruling himself, whereby two women had a dispute. One of them threw a stone at the other one and she died. And the Prophet ﷺ did not call for qisas, he called for blood money to be paid. And he said that it was a qatl khata. It was a mistake. نعم. ألا إن قتيل العمد الخطأ بالصوت والعصا شبه العمد فيه 100 من الإبل مغلظة منها 40 خليقة أو خليفة في بطونها أولادها. So the Messenger ﷺ said that whoever kills this person accidentally with a stick or anything similar or whip, then it is shibh al-amd. It resembles the amd, the intentional killing, and in it there is 100 mi'atun min al-ibil, there's 100 camels in it, and 40 of them are pregnant she camels. So there's a diya to be paid, but there's no qisas. So here we see the difference between the first and the second. Qatlul amd al-udwan, there was the possibility of three. What are they? Killing, blood money, or forgiving. The second, shibhul amd, there's a possibility of what? Blood money or al-af, forgiveness. There's not a possibility of qisas. It's not possible to kill that person, because that obviously was an accident. Who can give me an example of this? Shibhul amd. No. No. If a person kills, if a person, two people have dispute and they start to punch one another, one of them punches the other person and they fall down on the floor. That is qatl al-khata, shib al-amd. Unless, of course, that person is what? A professional boxer. مثلا, a professional boxer, a heavyweight professional boxer, he's trained to kill a person, not trained to kill a person, but he can easily kill a person. And he knows what he's capable of doing. So that is the norm. So for that person, it's different. Like normally, people don't kill each other with punches. Therefore, it's called shib al-amd. Example of Musa alayhi salam when he accidentally killed that person. Another example. Naam. From the cold. Sah, true. If a father kicks his child out and they die outside due to extreme cold, or they're lashing them, they're whipping them, and they die. So what he wanted was ta'deeb. He wanted to give him tarbiyah, like he accidentally killed him. The same for someone accidentally throwing a pen at someone, or accidentally throwing a book at someone, or a bag at someone. So he intended to harm him, like he did not intend to. He did not intend to what? Kill him. طيب. So for that, there is شبه العمد, there's دية. طيب. الثالث الخطأ وهو أن تقع الجناية منه بغير قصد بمباشرة أو سبب ففي الأخير لا قود بل الكفارة في مال القاتل. طيب. The Sheikh says رحمه الله, so the third is الخطأ. Let me see your button for a second please. الخطأ وهو أن تقع الجناية منه بغير قصد. Who's got an Arabic mutton? Give me your mutton for a second. في الأخيرين. What نسخة has you got مبارك? طيب, what does it say with قتل الخطأ وهو تقع الجناية منه بغير قصد بمباشرة أو carry on وفي الأخير. What about that one? وفي الأخير أو وفي الأخيرين لا قوة. طيب. One of them said أخيرين. I think your one's more correct because it says أخيرين. لكن we'll get to it inshallah. الثالث الخطأ. The third is manslaughter, where a person accidentally kills another person. وهو, and it is أن تقع الجناية, that the jinayah takes place منه, the action takes place from him, the person that is the killer that is accidentally killed. بغير قصد, لكن it is not intentional. It is not intentional. So this قتل خطأ is if a person does something that normally kills, لكن he didn't intend to kill this person. An example, a person is hunting. He's hunting legally in a forest that is allowed, or there's people are allowed to hunt. Right? And he has a rifle and he's hunting. He shoots at his prey. And all of a sudden there was a human being sleeping under a tree. And he hits the human. And that human dies. That is qatlul khata. It is a mistake, an accidental killing, manslaughter. He did not intend to kill him. He did not intend to kill him. The action that he did is something that kills, right? Like he did not intend to kill him. He did not intend to kill him. So that's why the Sheikh says, أن تقع الجناية منه بغير قصد. بغير قصد. He did not intend to kill him. So it is him doing something that he's allowed to do. He's doing something that he's allowed to do, and then he kills someone. Or something that he's not allowed to do, but he still ends up killing a person. For example, مثلا, there's a group of camels, a flock of camels or whatever, in the forest. They belong to someone else. And this person, out of silliness, he decides to shoot the camels. He intends to harm the camels, right? Like the shepherd is right underneath the camel, so he accidentally shoots the shepherd as well. That is called qatul khata. Did he intend to kill him? No. Because although he's not allowed to kill the animal, like he killed a human, and there's a big difference between killing a human and killing a what? An animal. طيب. What about if a person wants to shoot another person? He can see that Ismail is at مثلا 20 meters away, and he aims at Ismail. Lakin, because of his wonky eye, he hits Mubarak, who's about 2 meters away from him, and he ends up killing Mubarak. What type of killing does that come under? Out of the 3 types that you've studied, what type does it come under? The first, the last, second. Why does it come under the first? Okay. The intention wasn't to kill Ismail, not to kill Mubarak, but it was to kill Ismail. That was good. Okay. But he didn't intend to kill Ismail. Mubarak. So he's allowed to kill Ismail, but not Mubarak. Khata. Why is it khata? Why is it a mistake? It's a bit different. مثلا, for example, a person intends to steal an iPad, and then he finds a state-of-the-art laptop. He takes the laptop. Forget about the laptop. Is that not stealing? Stealing. Who gave him the permission to kill the first person in the first place? So that's qatl amd. That's intentional killing. Who gave him permission to kill that person? Lakin, the intention, the one that we're talking about, khata, is a person shoots someone, afwan, he does something that is okay for him to do, or he does something which is not okay for him to do, lakin, he doesn't know there's a human being there. For example, a person starts his car and he drives off, and then he realizes he stepped over someone, he ran someone over. Someone was sleeping under the car that night, and he killed him. Is he to be killed for that? That's qatl khata. Then the Shaykh says, بِمُبَاشَرَةٍ أَوْ سَبَبٍ. Whether he intends to intentionally kill, whether he intentionally kills, directly kills that person, or بِسَبَبٍ, or he is the reason for that, or he is the reason for him to be killed, or he's the reason for him to be killed. So for example, مثلا, if a person shoots at a person, he has directly killed him, right? He is the mubashir. He is the one that directly killed him. What about if I give a gun to someone and I say, go kill Ahmed? I am the mutasabbib, I am the one that has caused, but this is the mubashir, the one that has directly carried out the act. Who gets charged? Who gets charged for the murder of that person? The mubashir, the person that does it directly, the person that does it directly. طيب. What about if the one that actually killed directly? What about if the one that killed can't be held to account? مثلا, I throw a person into the lion's den. I only threw him in. The lion came, done his business, killed him. Who is the mubashir here? Who is the one that directly killed this person? The lion. Who is the mutasabbib? The one that pushed him in. The only problem we have here, our qa'idah, is that the one that the mubashir is to be charged, right? The one that does it directly. The only problem is here is we can't bring the lion to court. Therefore, who takes the blame? the mutasabbib, the one that took the means for him to be killed. مثلا, for example, let's say a person digs a hole or he digs a well somewhere that he's not allowed to do, somewhere he's not allowed to do it. And then someone is walking and he falls into the pit and he dies. Who's at fault here? The one that dug the hole. What about if someone throws him in the hole, into that hole, into the well? The one that threw him into the well. Sahih, the one that dug the hole might be charged for a crime. He might be punished in some sort of way, like in the one that killed is the one that killed directly. So that's why the Shaykh says, أو سبب بمباشرة أو سبب. طيب. What about if a group of people kill one person? What happens here? If a group of people kill one person. MashaAllah, good. Carry on.
The person that actually did the killing, will be the main person. Everyone else.
Joint enterprise? So they kill him. They all get charged for murder. Who's with him? The killing blow. Huh?
If one did the planning, one did the driving, maybe their punishment is less than that one.
If a group of people kill a person and their strike of every person can kill a person on his own, then they are to be charged, all of them. For example, 10 people attack one person, all of them have got knives and they're all stabbing him. It may be that he was only stabbed twice, but every single one of them can kill a person with his knife. Or there's a person standing there, 10 of them have got guns and they all shoot at him. He might have died after the first or the second, صح? However, all 10 are to be killed. Why? Because individually, لو انفرد لقتله. لو انفرد, if he was on his own, he could have easily killed him with a knife or a gun. So therefore, all of them are to be killed. However, if one had a knife and the others were just punching him or hitting him, and then he dies of a knife wound, who is to be charged? The one that had the gun. The others are to be charged for something else, for crime, punishment, some sort of punishment. Lakin, for murder, the one that is the mubashir, that intentionally killed, is the one that is to be killed. And that's taken from the Athar of Umar radiallahu anhu, where about 7 people killed one person, and he said, Wallah, if the whole of Sana'a was to kill him, I would have killed the whole of Sana'a. So he commanded for all of them to be killed. And also, that is the stronger opinion, not only from the Athar, but even from a logical point of view. Because if we say to people, if you kill each other in groups, then there's no capital punishment. What they're going to do, they're just going to say, listen, if you want to ever kill someone, just bring 5 of your friends. And you can easily kill them. He might say to them, listen guys, I want to kill this person. You guys just come with me. I'm going to pay the blood money, don't worry. I don't even expect you to pay the blood money. I'll pay the blood money on my own. But you just be there for me, because with you there as a group, I won't be killed. Saddan lidhari'a, that is called. In order to prevent that from taking place, if a group of people take part, then they kill this person. Then they are to be killed. طيب. The next masala is the kafaratul qatli. Al-kafara. If a person kills, so afwan. The Shaykh says at the end, the word that I was looking at, وَفِي الْأَخِيرِ لَا قَوَّدَ بَلْ الْكَفَارَةُ فِي مَالِ الْقَاتِلِ. So whoever has got فِي الْأَخِيرِ, change it to فِي الْأَخِيرَيْنِ. And the reason is because I don't know if it's just my mutton, but it says وَفِي الْأَخِيرِ, and in the last one, there is no qisas. It should say in the last two, there's no qisas. How many killings did he mention? 3. What was the first one? Al-amd, intentional. The second? Shibh al-amd, partial intentional. And the third was what? Khata. The only one that we said there's qisas is what? The first one. So that's why where it says here, for fil akhiri, in the last one, there's no qawad, there's no qisas. Qawad means qisas. There's no qawad. That's why on my one there's a printing error. I don't know about the few of the copies that the students have. It says what? وفي الأخيرين. وفي الأخيرين. طيب. And that is the correct one, because in the last two, meaning shibh al-amd and khata, in these two, the second and the third, there's no qisas. The person is not to be killed. Lakin there is kafara, there is expiation for it. And the expiation for it is either itqu raqaba, or يعني freeing a slave, or al-it'am, or to feed 60 people, or to feed 60 people. الله جل وعلا نعم فتحرير رقبة وإن كان من قوم بغير فدية مسلمة وتحرير رقبة مؤمنة فمن لم يجد فصيام شهرين متتابعين توبة من الله. طيب so نعم عتق رقبة نعم نعم أو الإطعام في لم يجد لم يستطع صيام فلا كفارة. نعم. So the only kafara is that a person frees a slave or fasts 2 months. Frees a slave or fasts 2 months. طيب. Frees a slave or fasts 2 months. If they can't fast 2 months, they free a slave. If they can't free a slave, they fast 2 months. There's no it'am. There's no feeding of 60 people. طيب. What about if a person kills 3 people? If a person kills 3 people, how many expiations does he do? Times 3. Times 3? No, he's not getting killed. He accidentally kills 3 people. He accidentally runs over 3 people. What happens? Does he have to free 3 slaves, or do we say you have to fast 6 months? One incident. For all 3.
If it's one incident, then it's one kafara.
One incident, one kafara. But he killed 3. Same time. Same accident. No, 3. 3 separate ones. Write these down inshallah. These ضوابط. تتعدد الكفارة بتعدد المقتولين. تتعدد الكفارة بتعدد المقتولين. Don't worry, I'll actually write it down for you and I'll send it to you. Like, listen, pay attention first, inshallah. تتعدد الكفارة, that the kafara, the expiation, it becomes multiplied بتعدد المقتولين, with the multiplication of the ones that are being killed. So if a person accidentally kills 2 people, he has 2 expiations to make up. A person kills 2 people, he has 2 expiations to make. If he kills 3 people accidentally, he has 3 what? Expiations to make up. The next is تتعدد الكفارة بتعدد القاتلين. نعم. So مثلا تتعدد الكفارة. The kafara is also multiplied بتعدد القاتلين, depending on the number of people that killed. So for example, if 2 people kill 1 person, the opposite of the first one, 2 people kill 1 person, what do they have to do? What is the expiation? 2 people accidentally kill 1 person. The 2 have to each do their own kafara. So they can't say we only killed 1 person, so we're only gonna, one of us is just gonna fast 2 months. So they need to do the kafara of, in both cases. طيب. The third, so is that understood, that second one? طيب. The third is, as for the diya, the blood money, الدية تتعدد بتعدد المقتولين. للقاتلين. The diya is multiplied when you look at the number of people that have been killed and not the number of people that have killed. So for example, if a person kills 10 people, if one person kills 10 people, how many blood monies does he have to pay? 10. We don't say to him, you're the only person that has killed anyone, so you only have to pay 1 blood money. What's the opposite to that? If 10 people kill 1 person, how many blood monies do they have to pay? 10 people 10 people killed 1 person. What is the diya? 10 diyas have to be paid? 1, because it is linked to the person that has been killed. They split it in 10. Because there's 1 person that has been killed.
Is that why the limit isn't 100 camels as well? Because then kind of ask more.
No, it's not connected to it. The limit can be, you can ask for more. You can ask for more, that's not connected to this. Like in here, 100 comes, a person's diya, a person's blood money is 100. How many people have been killed? 1 person. Whether it's 10 or 20 that killed him, like 1 person has been killed at the end of the day. So the family, they get what? Blood money for 1 person. Kafara and diya. Which is what? No, that's something else that's to come. The kafara. No, that's something else. That's to come, I believe. It's still to come. وَدِيَةُ عَلَى عَاقِلَتِهِ. That's talking about the diya though. وَالْكَفَارَةُ فِي مَالِ الْقَاتِلِ. نعم, the blood money مثلا. A person plays, the murderer for example, the murderer, he has to pay the blood money, the diya. The money is taken في مال القاتل. The one that has paid, the one that has killed is the one that pays that kafara or that diya, the blood money. نعم, that's for قتل الخطأ وشبه العمد. لكن here, remember what we said, for the قتل العمد there's no kafara. قتل العمد there's no kafara. There's diya, or so the person kills another person intentionally, he is to be killed. If not, then there's the diya. He doesn't have to do kafara because the sin is too great for fasting 2 months or freeing a slave. For shibul amd, lakin, there's the kafara, does the kafara, and that kafara could be freeing a slave or fasting 2 months. The same goes for, so there's the diya goes to the family, lakin he himself still has to do the kafara. نعم. نعم. طيب والكفارة في مال القاتل. So the kafara, he says in this next masala, the expiation is taken from the mal of the one that kills, of the murderer. Lakin that is the intentional killing. وَدِيَةُ عَلَى عَاقِلَتِهِ. Lakin the diya, the blood money, is on the aqila, the family of the person. وهم, and they are the aqila, عصباته كلهم قريبهم وبعيدهم. طيب. So now what he's talking about, the sheikh, is the diya. Who pays the blood money? Who pays the blood money? How many types of killing are there? 3. The first one was what? Intentional. For the intentional, the one that pays the blood money is the one that killed. The murderer himself is the one that pays the blood money. For the qatl al-amd, the intentional killing, the one that pays the diya is the murderer himself. طيب. لكن as for the second type and the third type, the accidental killing from the shibh al-amd and the accidental killing for the khata, a diya is to be paid, the blood money. And the blood money, the aqila pay. The aqila, they're the ones that pay. قريبهم بعيدهم. The asaba of the person. And the asaba are the male relatives of a person. The male relatives of a person. For example, a man kills another person. Who are his asaba? His sons come into it. Who else? His brothers, his uncles, his father, his grandfather. These are the people that come into it. What about a woman? If she kills a person, her asaba has to have to pay it. Who comes into that? Same. Husband's not included. Who said he is? He is, huh? He's not included. He's not included as asaba. Is he her asaba? Go back to Bab Mirath. You've forgotten, huh? He's not her asaba. What about her son? Is he her asaba? A woman. You said yeah. No, the woman killed someone else. So now she accidentally killed someone else. She's driving, accidentally kills some person. The diya is to be paid by her asaba. Who her asaba? Huh? Her son is included.
He would inherit if she passed away. He would inherit if she passed away.
Yeah, he still does
He's the highest.
Okay. He's the he is the highest asaba. Yeah. Because he comes under her asaba, huh? When she dies, he inherits him. طيب. توزع عليهم. طيب. توزع عليهم بقدر حالهم. توزع عليهم is to be distributed among them. What is to be distributed? The diya, the blood money. بقدر حالهم, depending on how they are, depending on their حال, financially, the financial situation. Right. So the close ones obviously take more of a responsibility. The person's brothers, sons and father, they take more of a responsibility than the cousins and the distant cousins. Right? Lakin, also what else is to be taken into consideration is their financial ability to pay this money. So they don't pay the same amount. Then the Shaykh says, rahimahullah, وَتُؤَجَّلُ عَلَيْهِمْ 3 سنين. كل سنة يحملون ثلثها. So it is to be delayed for 3 years. The diya is to be paid in 3 years. To be paid within 3 years. And every year they pay a third. Every year they pay a third. Lakin, the diya that is given that 3 years time frame is the qatlul khata and shibhul khata. These two are the ones that are given 3 years. As for the murderer that intentionally kills another person, not only does he pay his own blood money for the person, but also he has to pay it immediately. He has to pay it immediately because we can't make it easier for him. He's a murderer. Like in the person that made a mistake, khalas, the aqila or his family pay it, and they are also given 3 years to pay the blood money. Every year they bring a third. Every year they bring a third of that money. طيب. We'll stop there inshallah and carry on from that point next week inshallah. From the aqila. طيب.
وقل رب زدني علما